Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
The man accused of shooting and killing a Detroit police officer is now facing new charges.
And we're following breaking news from Wall Street. A highly volatile trading session underway after global markets take a tumble. That story does top our news at noon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Evrod Cassimy. Today is another nervous up and down day in the stock market. I want to give you a look right now at the major stock indices. And once again, stocks have been moving up and down today after dramatic swings and losses just the past 2 trading days. Well, yesterday, the Dow lost more than 1,100 points. That was a one-day record loss, and it followed another large drop in stock prices last Friday. Around the world today, stock markets were down in Europe and Asia. And today, the Dow opened with a drop of more than 500 points, reversed course, and rose more than 350 points, and then recording more up and down swings. Some analysts say the volatility comes from worries about inflation and interest rates, but many others say investors should just be patient.
If you're a long-term investor, you have to bet on the long term, and the U.S. economy, underlying economy for the moment, is still very strong.
Local 4 will, of course, continue to monitor the markets for you. We're going to be reporting on developments throughout the day, and we'll have updates a little bit later on in this newscast. The other big story that we're following for you this afternoon, the man suspected in the shooting death of Detroit police officer Glenn Doss Jr. is facing a judge. 43-year-old DeCharlos Brooks is charged in that shooting that happened late last month at a house on McDougal Street near I-94. Local 4's Coco McAvoy was in court for this. And Coco, have charges been upgraded to murder after Doss's death?
Yes, Evrod, his charges have been upgraded to murder. And as soon as Brooks walked into the courtroom, he had a few words to say. DeCharlos Brooks immediately began talking. He is now facing more than a dozen charges following the murder of Detroit police officer Glenn Doss Jr. Officer Doss was killed in the line of duty after responding to a domestic violence call. Brooks is a suspected shooter, and today his charges were upgraded to murder.
Count 1, murder in the first degree, premeditated. Count 2, murder of a peace correction officer. Count 3 through 9, assault with intent to murder.
After reading through the long list of charges, Brooks's attorney discussed the need for a competency exam.
I'm not going to be able to be prepared to have a preliminary examination because of what I believe is his mental status at this time. He has no recollection of the events.
Outside of the courthouse, Officer Doss's father spoke about Brooks's actions in the courtroom.
It appears that at this point that he's showing no remorse. I can understand him sending out shots of love to his family, but at no time did he give out any condolences or a shout to me or my family.
It's been a difficult couple of weeks for the family of Officer Doss, and they're hoping justice gets served. And Brooks will have a competency exam in April. Reporting live this afternoon, I'm Coco McAvoy, Local 4.
All righty, Coco, thank you for the update. Let's turn our attention now to the forecast. The cold weather is back, and it seems like it's here to stay for a while. The question is there more snow on the way? As I give you a live look at conditions outside in Romulus, Detroit, and Mount Clemens. And Brandon, it just looks downright cold. I believe that's ice on the Detroit River right there.
Oh, it is. And wait until you see the storm pin I have from the Detroit River coming up. But right now it is cold, no doubt about it. A fresh little coating of an inch and a half of snow early this morning. 19 right now in Pontiac, 21 in Ann Arbor, 22 Grosse Ile, 19 in Port Huron. As we look at wind chills, the winds are not real strong, but once the wind gets to about 10 miles an hour, it can knock the temperature down about 10 degrees. So Pontiac still have single-digit wind chills. Harrow, Ontario feels like single digits as well. And for the rest of the afternoon, we're looking at clouds coming and going, but filling in a little bit more toward the late afternoon. 23, 24 degrees. Clouds coming in, and average highs this time of year about 33. So we're struggling to hit that anywhere in the 7-day forecast, with just a little bit of cloud cover getting going to our west. Again, we'll see some of that rolling in. Ahead, we're looking at a Wednesday morning mess. Friday, more measurable snow, and we'll look at the weekend forecast as well coming up.
Alrighty, Brandon, thank you. In Washington now, Congress is scrambling to come up with a budget by Thursday to avoid a government shutdown. And caught up in the mix is $3.6 billion in limbo for community clinics. Millions of people use those clinics to see a doctor. And here's Tracy Potts explaining why it's being called the next healthcare cliff.
Caught up in the budget battle, 27 million Americans who use community clinics, like Oliver's mom.
When you wake up in the middle of the night and your son has a fever, and especially when you're a first-time mommy, you don't know what to do sometimes.
70% of community clinic funding, $3.6 billion, is up in the air, overdue since September.
It needs to be reauthorized now. We're much more than just a doctor's office. We are really the core of the community.
8.9 million children who just got their federally funded health insurance renewed could see doctors laid off and clinics close.
That funding is really the only way those clinics can keep the doors open.
Bertha Quintanillas brought her children to LA's Northeast Valley Clinic for 20 years. To find a new doctor now,
I would feel lost.
Here at Northeast Valley, they're looking at having to possibly lay off 125 people if the money doesn't come through. A new Kaiser Family Foundation report found 1 in 5 clinics, 20%, have already announced a hiring freeze. A quarter canceled or delayed construction. Nearly 6 in 10 are considering layoffs, and half plan to reduce hours, nights and weekends critical for working families.
If they don't show up for that appointment, because we have so many patients waiting, that appointment may be postponed for months down the line.
Missed shots and screenings for children as Washington puts healthcare on hold again. Tracy Potts, Local 4.
And Republicans and Democrats support renewing community clinic funding. So why the delay, you might be asking? Well, insiders say it's being used as a bargaining chip to work out differences over spending and immigration. And today, White House Chief of Staff Mike Kelly said Dreamers are, quote, not a priority for deportation should Obama immigration protections expire. Well, there is some good news this afternoon for General Motors shareholders and the men and women who work in GM factories. While General Motors reported a nearly $4 billion net loss for 2017, the loss was due to changes in the tax code. Excluding one-time items, GM had a profit of nearly $10 billion and earnings of just under $7 a share. Profits from North American operations have resulted in profit-sharing checks of nearly $12,000 for GM's UAW workers. All right, so to come here on Local 4 News at noon, a decades-old Hollywood mystery is back in the public eye. We'll tell you why Robert Wagner is now a person of interest in Natalie Woods' death. Plus, the founder of WikiLeaks has lost his bid to avoid prosecution. We'll tell you where he is in pretty big trouble. Welcome back, everyone. As we continue to follow breaking news of a volatile stock market, we want to give you a live look at the major market indices right now. After a record-breaking loss in the Dow Jones Industrials average yesterday, the Dow opened lower today and then rose several hundred points and has moved down and up since then. We, of course, are going to continue to monitor the market for you and update you on any changes throughout the day. The founder of WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, has lost his bid to avoid prosecution in the United Kingdom. He took refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy in London to avoid arrest in the UK. Assange was avoiding extradition to Sweden to face a rape allegation there. The case in Sweden has been dropped, and lawyers for Assange want his arrest warrant dropped as well. But today a judge upheld the warrant because Assange jumped bail in 2012, so he remains inside of the Ecuadorian embassy. It's a mystery that has captivated Hollywood for decades. 37 years after actress Natalie Woods' untimely death, officials say Robert Wagner is still a person of interest. Woods drowned in 1981 while boating in Southern California. Wagner was her husband at the time. New witnesses report hearing the couple fighting on the yacht that night, followed by abrupt silence. On Monday, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department held a press conference saying that Wagner's story simply did not add up.
I think we told us the original investigators, and we portrayed since then, really don't add up to what we found.
Officials say they are making a public appeal to get more witnesses to come forward in this case. Wagner, we should let you know, has declined to speak with investigators since they reopened the case back in 2011. All right, so to come here on Local 4 News at noon, it's a family affair, a rich history of recipes being served up at this hot spot for Asian food. We're going to take you there. That's coming up for Tasty Tuesday. And boy, is their food good, Brandon.
It is good, and there's one small hiccup in the Tasty Tuesday story. Stay tuned. Some light snow across western lower, but we are keeping our eyes on decent snow with bad timing next.
Merrill Davis and Charlie White skated into history as the first American ice dancers to win Olympic gold, and life hasn't stopped for Merrill since.
There have been a lot of exciting things that have happened.
A new role in Detroit.
I didn't know how much it would affect me.
So how's it going to feel watching from home this time?
Hear about her fiance and the other new love in her life.
It sounds ridiculous, but I feel like it's made me a better person.
And we've put her to work for us.
Getting to find new challenges and explore new territory that are a little bit scary.
Catch up with Merrill Davis tonight at 11.
Daryl.
Good Tuesday afternoon, everybody. Doing all right here. We are about a dozen degrees shy of normal, but we do toward the end of the 7-day bring a little bit closer to the low and mid 30s, so hold out a little hope. 21 degrees with a northwest wind at 7 brings the wind chill down into the teens and even single digits in a few spots. So we still need to layer up today. Don't have much concern about snow, even though some of your side streets may still be snow covered, those in the shadows. And as we go through the afternoon, 24 degrees, the winds out of the west southwest are now turning west northwest. And this evening and overnight, mostly dry, but by 4 a.m. that snowmaker comes in, and through the morning drive, 2 to 4 inches of snow likely in the area. I think a lot of us will be right in that middle range, about 2.5, maybe 3 inches, with areas closer to the Ohio border maybe getting a little bit more than that. A little bit of light snow, lake effect stuff, that will push some cloud cover our way. But our Wednesday morning snow is a combination of two systems. The bulk of the energy of this in the southern system will stay to our south for the most part and could bring some real nasty weather through Ohio, Pennsylvania, and the Northeast late tomorrow. But we still have enough energy from this one, from the north flank of that storm, to get a decent little snow in here. Here's the timing: 4 a.m. through about 11 a.m. And I don't think it'll be snowing nonstop, but a pretty good bet we'll get a couple of heavier periods of snow, creating that total that we were talking about, a nice blanket over the area, but right in the middle of your Wednesday morning's commute. And then Friday, it gets going a little bit earlier, which means snow totals could be a little bit higher. But one of our models here shows we're looking at 2+ inches for most. And again, I do believe that there'll be an area, a zone through Adrian, Lenawee County, maybe southern Washtenaw, we'll say south of I-94, that could be into that 3, 4, or 5 inch range. So we'll be with you all morning long to get you through it. This computer model shows that we will see that area of darker blue here, 3 to 6 inches and a few isolated spots, while again most of us are 2 to 3 through the morning. Manageable. Mid-20s Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and again, morning snow again on Friday for another nasty commute for most. And then as we get into the weekend, we are tracking spotty snow showers. At this point, doesn't look like anything's going to stack up over the weekend, but you can see finally getting a little closer to normal by Sunday into Monday. A young couple from China chose gross eel to set up shop for their restaurant, Ooma Asian Cuisine. And from the menu to the chef's techniques, you're going to have to put Ooma on your to-do list. Ooma Asian cuisine in Grosse Ile is properly named.
Ooma from the Japanese plum blossom.
A flower that blossoms in the winter, a familiar feel for owners Eva Xiao and her husband, Chef Fei Xiao.
Spring rolls and the gyoza that's made in house.
What is that?
Pork dumpling.
An Ooma ultimate comes from a rich history of authentic recipes, unchanged and unbelievable.
My grandmother's recipe, the hot and sour soup.
Fresh veggies and homemade hot Asian pepper broth, balanced like a yin and a yang kind of thing.
Hibachi dish is like a Japanese and the Korean grill. So that one is kind of have a different variety of the meat.
Hibachi is Chef Fei's favorite. No tableside onion volcanoes. Each hibachi dish is made to order. Chef's techniques are a must-see. His General Tso's chicken has just the right amount of batter squeezed down perfectly, piece by piece.
Spicy tuna, spicy salmon sort of thing.
Fresh fish shipped in 3 times a week allows for a sushi smorgasbord, the fancy volcano.
Crab, avocado, cucumber. On top, we have scallop, shrimp, and then the crab, homemade spicy meal, and then Japanese mayonnaise all together, and then baked.
Just amazing, interesting take on, I guess, what we get used to for Chinese, Japanese, Korean barbecue type stuff. They definitely have their spin at Ooma Asian cuisine. And here is the hiccup. They are closed on Tuesdays. What? But tomorrow, and we'll remind you, Ooma is offering 15% off your entire bill when you mention Tasty Tuesday. And again, they're in Grosse Ile on Macomb Street.
They are definitely worth the wait, so make sure you go and stop there tomorrow for that Tasty Tuesday, or should we say Tasty Wednesday deal. All right, still to come, it's a good week for Philadelphia Eagles fans, really. And we'll tell you what they were promised if their team won the Super Bowl when we come back. Keep it here.
Alt 106.
Welcome back, everybody. We are continuing to follow the big breaking news right now of the volatile stock market. After a record-setting loss just yesterday, the Dow Jones Industrials average has been up and down today, really. Down as much as 500 points and then up as much as 350 points. This is a look at the major indices right now. Of course, Local 4 will continue to keep you updated on stocks in newscast a little bit later today, starting with First at 4 with Karen Drew. Well, finally here at noon, let's talk about Bud Light, shall we?
Yes.
The company and beer maker making good on a Twitter promise after the Eagles' big win on Super Bowl Sunday.
Last summer, the beer company bet the entire city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, that the Eagles, if the Eagles won the Super Bowl, the beer was on them. After Sunday's 41-33 win over the New England Patriots, Bud Light says it will give out free beer to everyone of age at Thursday's parade. And you may have to use your eagle eyes, but reps for Bud Light will be scattered along the parade route so fans can grab a cold one.
After Sunday's riots and free beer in the mix, police say that they are prepared for another wild event. You know, I never understood, like, when you win and you're celebrating, why do you destroy your town?
It may have something to do with the beverages.
That's possible.
60 years since, well, they never won a Super Bowl in Philly, so some get a little overexcited.
Don't get any ideas, Detroiters. It's our next year.
We're going to do it.
All right? Have a great day, everybody.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.